Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction to read through for Boku no Hero Academia, chapters 417, 418, and 419. We are so very close to catching up. We're only, once I finish these three chapters, we'll only be three more behind. And then, once I do that, I'm gonna be stuck waiting to do videos once every 3 weeks. That's what I said I'd do. That's what people wanted me to do. So I'll wait, I'll hold off, and then every 3 chapters I'll do a reaction to those 3 new chapters. But yeah, it's gonna be rough. The wait's gonna be rough. So yeah, I got pretty emotional last time around. I think that, as I've been saying the past few videos, Horikoshi's absolutely been nailing this finale for me lately. The end game for so many of these characters and so many of these subplots has been paying off hard. And this Izuku and Shigaraki stuff, where I thought back when they were first around, like UA stuff, I thought that it started off a little weak, but oh boy, have they gone crazy with it. Like, it feels like every single like subplot or part of this final arc ends up like that, where it starts off and it's like, oh, that's a little bit weak, and then it just cranks into the next gear, and it is so good. So I'm excited to read for these 3. Let's see what we get this time around. Let's start with 417. As always, I can't show it to you because it's Jump, so you just got the volume cover up here, since the next volume cover hasn't been released yet. And we have the fingers being torn away. What's even happening there? I can't tell what's going on no more. Looks like Izuku Midoriya bulldozed his way into the blob of fingers, and I think that's Kanchasi-kun. And he gets in there to where Shigaraki's core is, and we see the lump of lead inside him being blown apart. We have Shimura Nana, Yoichi, Bruce, Banjo, Toshinori. I'm the only one who got repelled. But why? However we got here, Grandma, you can rest assured that I hate you too with all my heart. No, it's not because he hates me. Mommy, don't leave me. My own weakness is to blame. Number 417, Shimura. And we have Izuku in his school uniform at the Shimura residence. Say you learn more. What then? Say you expose his past to the light. Will that change a damn thing? And we have this dark Izuku within him. That's me, through Shigaraki's eyes. I guess he's using that form to chat. I don't know, but letting this end without finding out wouldn't sit right with me. How about you die instead? You will let me in. And we have Truck-kun coming straight at him. Yikes! Out of the road! Where are your parents at, kid? A physical interaction in this space. You've delved deep into Shigaraki's subconscious. As a successor yourself, your thoughts take solid form here, so you can affect each other physically. 7th? I was the only one to get repelled. Again. I'm sorry. Please don't be. I'm glad you're still with me in this. Think of this space as Shigaraki's core, his origin, him at his most delicate and malleable. In this place he's likely to be fragile. It's here that you can reach out and strike at his origin directly. Right, his origin. And Stain comes in, stabbing down on him. That's why you're about to die. Stain? What burdens do you bear? What do you seek to build? And we have Redestro. And I love this, because this is exactly the pose that Stain hit Shigaraki with when they first met. And then we go from that into Redestro, because both of them were characters that Shigaraki met and was tested against, and they tested his resolve, his ideology, what he wanted to achieve. Got a plan? And again, he is melted through by Chisaki this time. Again, these are all things that they were confronting Shigaraki with, and now they're still in his psyche, being reflected towards Izuku. Nope, get out of my way. And he breaks through and rushes to the house. He opens the door, and opening the door is like opening a photo to Nana and her son. It's a secret. So, this is Grandma. That photo. Kotaro, you kept it. Let's be a brother-sister hero team, but keep it a secret from Daddy. And man, this is so good. This is so cool. How the doorway and the light is turning into Hana. And then as he goes through, it's a scene of Shigaraki being hit by his father. And Nana tearing up. That silhouette must be Shigaraki. Izuku runs into a wall before he can reach him. That rejection again, bouncing me back when I'm a stone's throw away. That wasn't your grandmother in the picture. That was a monster who abandoned her child. Right, of course. He didn't keep the photo because he wanted to. Do you really want to know what heroes are? He couldn't part ways with it. They're people who hurt their own families, all along, only to help complete strangers. All that time, he just couldn't bear to abandon it. And the scars I inflicted on him got passed down to Shigaraki. If only I could have taken down All for One and gone home to my son. I'm sorry, Kotaro. Shimura now, and Izuku is actually pushing her through. Your mom was weak. And he breaks through with her stopping Kotaro and Izuku reaching out to Shigaraki. And we see the moment, again, getting emotional again. The moment of Izuku reaching out to Shigaraki breaks apart his core. I'm sorry, I never made it home to you. Sorry, Grandma's to blame. And we see Shigaraki's face in the darkness now. I hate it. You hear me, Mon? I can't take it. And the moment Mon starts to crumble, to be continued. And Izuku again now, he's gone from his UA uniform down to his middle school uniform. This is incredible work. Like Horikoshi pulled, like I'm getting emotional, I'm tearing up. I don't know how easy it is to see on camera, but I'm getting emotional, I'm tearing up, and it is just so well presented. And like I've said, for all of this stuff we've been getting lately, it is like everything in the series leading up to this point has mattered. Everything is coming into play. Everything is coming together. And I think there are a lot of ways in which Hero Academia isn't perfect. I think maybe we should have had a few more arcs. I think maybe the side characters aren't all as developed as they should be. I think there are some things that are disappointing, like, okay, Yaoyorozu's supposed to be super smart, but she's never prepared for anything ever, even though she can make whatever she wants to make. There are a lot of just small, like, plot conveniences and issues with Hero Academia. But whenever I think of like shonen, I always think, wow, this fell off at the end. Wow, this fell off at the end. Every single time a big shonen manga always falls apart at some point, just absolutely unravels. I mean, really goes to shit. And out of all of them out there, that people are like, oh, this one'll break the mold. This one'll stick the landing. Out of every shonen that people have said that about, and it hasn't come to pass, but it hasn't come to pass because they've fallen apart. It is wild to me that within maybe less than 20 more chapters, My Hero Academia could be the one. Could be the long-running 400-plus chapter Jump series to actually nail the landing. To actually stick to the ending. And, well, stick the landing, nail the ending. Like, Hero Academia could be it. It really could. Because, wow, this stuff has been good. There is only one thing Like, I think there are many different ways that Horikoshi could end this that would be really, really good. Izuku saving everyone, becoming the greatest hero. Quirk singularity gets rid of all quirks for some reason because of the clash between All for One and One for All, and there are no more quirks for anyone, and it goes back to a normal society. Izuku loses his powers and, you know, is revered as like the greatest hero, but meanwhile all the other people get to continue on as heroes, but Izuku really can't anymore because he's in such bad shape. Izuku passes his power on to Tenko, maybe somehow because his body is reverting in a bunch of different ways. Maybe Shigaraki reverts back to Tenko and he becomes the 10th All for One holder, or one for All holder. Sorry, got that backwards. There's so many different ways to end it that I think could be really good depending on how Horikoshi writes them. Like, there's so many different ways, and I'd be happy with any of these different ways. There's only one thing about the ending that I think is going to be rough to watch, that I think is going to be gonna hurt to see, and that's the part that we get at the end of a lot. Naruto did it at its final chapter, where we're like, oh hey, let's take all of these characters and randomly throw them into relationships together, even though some of them are just not well developed for that. Like, that's going to be the hardest part of Hero Academia, because you know we're going to get like a final chapter or two where we have like Todoroki Yaoyorozu, which is like such a big, boring eye roll to me. They, to me, have like no chemistry at all whatsoever. We're gonna get like Kaminari and Jiro, which again I feel like is the most surface level thing that shouldn't be a romance, that should just be fine as a non-romantic relationship. We're gonna get all of that kind of stuff, and that's gonna be, to me, a big eye roll moment. I think that's gonna be the only thing I'm not looking forward to in this ending, is the random pair up relationship stuff that I feel like is bound to come at the end. But other than that, man, Hero Academia is nailing the ending. We have more to read. I just got sidetracked. Let's go to 418. Continuing right where we left off, it's titled Meek Spirits. I hate everyone. It's the same thing I sensed back in Gunga. Shiga, and then Moan starts crumbling and falls apart into blood. Moan? This had to be the first time his decay quirk emerged. Tenko? Oh god, I see where this is headed. What happens next is at the core of it all. She screams, and he can't get the words out. And Izuku reverts even further beyond his middle school self to his child self, holding him back, like forcibly taking his hands. Gotta end this now. A realm where memory materializes. Visualize it. Picture yourself not letting go of him. Keep remembering those hands. All of One for All. Why has been smashed against him. The last piece to hit him with is me. Because I saw you crying. No, all wrong. I did this. I chose this. A huge surge of Tenko's emotions. It was my choice to destroy this house and my family. Otherwise, what's the point of these hands? Who else would ever validate my existence given the way I am? Him at his most delicate and malleable. I'm getting rejected. No, don't let go. On the one hand, powerful hatred and catharsis weighed against grief and confusion. Tenko was still wavering on the edge at this point. Get your hands off of me. And he remembers being left behind and neglected. Maybe there's no other way besides killing, and I don't know what I'm gonna do when the time comes. Others have reached out. This massive rush, the hatred, it's cracking, it's happening, to take my hand and give me peace. And that's, and that's why I am here. And we go back to Shigaraki and what he told his parents, what he told his mom before. We have the laughing Mikun and Tomo. You should be All Might, Ten. Because he told her when he came home that he played with them and he got to be All Might. Nah, because I'm a villain. I fight in the name of evil to destroy. And we have Shimura Tenko being looked on by the League of Villains, his friends, as Izuku's arms crumble away. Doesn't matter if you stamp out my hatred, even if I wind up hollow. The villains need a hero of their own. Kill that kid. Crush this whole rotten world. Destroy it all, Tomura Shigaraki. And we have all these people watching on that have cheered on the heroes, but now we see all these people that have been let down by the world that are also cheering on Shigaraki. The fingers are crumbling away. We can't see Midoriya in there. Mr. Shimura, you're with Koga Construction, right? How's the old lumbago? What the hell? A little worse every year, I'll tell you. Can I recommend a decent doctor? Thanks, but it's really not worth the trouble. What memory's this? Oh sure, the little guy's a handful. How about his quirk? No, nothing yet. I don't get it. Not Tenko's memory. Who the hell is this? And is that his father, or... Yeah, it should be, right? And it looks like... Is that All for One's mouth in maybe like a last-ditch effort trying to swallow... Either A, trying to swallow him up before he can be saved, before he can turn to good. Or maybe he's become so confused and so weak from Izuku's meddling that All for One's spirit is now becoming powerful enough to overcome him keeping it at bay. But I think... So the person... Because we know All for One is still within Shigaraki, and Koga Construction might have just been a front for All for One, and he's recommending a doctor. I think this is actually All for One approaching Kojiro, and we're going to learn, I think we're going to learn that where Shigaraki's been blaming his family, he's maybe going to learn, and maybe we're going to learn, that All for One was manipulating even more than we thought he was manipulating. Maybe he manipulated the whole situation with Shigaraki's family because, of course, he was trying to get back at Nana and All Might. We know that from way earlier in the series. So this is probably All for One's memory. Such a foolish vessel, losing in a battle of wills to some kid, this absolute nobody, striving for strength yet invariably weak. Tenko Shimura, you pathetic imbecile. Not once in your pitiful life has any choice been your own. Because again, he said he chose to destroy it. But in reality, the doctor and his parents, the way he felt, it was probably all a manipulation. Okay, we still have one more. Man, I was really, really getting hit hard by that one. Again, this ending has been incredible. I think Horikoshi is nailing it. Amazing. Okay, let's go to 419 to finish things out. 419 starts with a color spread, and it actually looks like another character poll one. All right. So we've got Bakugo, looks like he's holding up one finger. Bakugo's like always the most popular. Izuku number 2, that's pretty usual. We have Todoroki at 3. That, again, is not really out of the ordinary. Dabi at 4 is kind of weird. I mean, I guess people who were into the edgy stuff might like him, but I didn't think he usually ranked that high with these Japanese character polls. And I really, I wouldn't rank Dabi, Toya, whatever. I wouldn't really rate him that high personally. But, you know what? when we're done with the series, when it ends, I'm totally going to do another character, like a big finale character tier list, because I've done one or two tier lists before. I'm going to do a big finale one at the end. So 5th is Hawks, which makes sense. Hawks is good. 6th, I think Hawks might be a little overrated, but he's good. 6 is Endeavor. Makes sense. Endeavor, I think, is one of the best characters in the series. Kirishima 7, he's fallen a bit, but Kirishima really got shafted in this final arc. He's one of my favorite characters, but he really didn't get to do all that much. I really wanted to see more out of him and Mina and Gigantomachia. I wanted so much more out of that situation than we got. Ida's 8th, pretty reasonable, even though I think Ida's kind of a bit of a blandman, a bit of a, he doesn't do much and isn't that great. I'm not a big Ida guy. 9th is Uraraka, who I think is actually underrated this time around. Like, her finale, her ending was so good. But then again, we don't know exactly when the poll ran, so it might have been before the stuff with her was kind of finalized. And then Shoji is in 10th, which I've always really liked Shoji, but on top of that, his finale and getting to have his backstory was incredibly good, so it totally makes sense that that's been far enough behind this, that people would have seen that and been like, oh yeah, we're voting for this guy, he's awesome. So either way, with that aside, let's read the actual chapter. And we have the horrible, like, Slender Man creepypasta, all for one. Izuku Midoriya, how dare you destroy my One for All, my Yoichi. Number 419, Design. Yet, Tenko's spiritual defeat here in his subconscious realm has allowed my own consciousness to claw back control. Foolish Tenko Shimura, such a pure, credulous superego, a soft simpleton unable to relinquish his cretinous life, benefiting from my guidance every step of the way, yet amounting to nothing. And we have Shigaraki hearing it all. And again, just all for one, starting out like this super confident demon lord, but just falling into more and more desperation until finally crawling his way back from the nothingness, the shadows of Shigaraki's mind. I don't get what you're talking about, Master. As I mentioned, not a single one of your choices has been your own. I did choose. I made those decisions. Yes, I had to make you think that, or else your strength of will would have been stunted. It was crucial to twist around your illusion of free will. Daigoro Banjo, aka Lariat, and Tayutai, aka Smoke Eater, my encounters with those two informed me that stealing back One for All would require a strength of will greater than the wielder's own. While All Might had me on the defensive, I conducted my search for a soul who could someday grind away at his spiritual fortitude. Okay, because we've seen whenever they clash, there is the clash of the vestiges, the clash of their minds, their wills. So that happens every time these quirks come into contact with each other. So he knew that whether it's tearing down All Might, or whether it's tearing down All Might's will or building up his own will, either way, he needs to win in a battle of wills, or else he won't be able to have this work, since things work on a, like, consensual basis with taking the quirk here. It was a quest for that most powerful of emotions, one born from the heart's suppression of the id, that primordial urge. Yes, I sought a seedbed fertile for hatred to grow. What's there to think about it? These days, heroes never show up to offer aid when they're actually needed. Children need siblings, because nobody else will help them out. The daughter, his firstborn, was already too far along, you see. I couldn't afford to be caught, so I never quite overstepped, just a few nudges from the shadows. I removed the yet unknown quirk factor passed down by your parents. That's why this makes so much sense, because we know that these kind of like blowbacks or negative effects from quirks usually don't happen to most people, even with powerful quirks. People will have powerful quirks, but they're not getting hurt by their own quirk. But Shigaraki is like itching and desiccated from his own quirk, so it's not fitting from his body. He purposefully gave him decay, knowing that it was basically a ticking time bomb. So he removed what quirk he was supposed to have and gave him decay. I encourage, and that's also because they mentioned we've never had a quirk like this in the family. It must have come out of nowhere, but we're seeing it didn't come out of nowhere. It isn't some like just random convenience. Oh, he got the power to decay things, which again is something that I was fine with, that I think everybody was fine with. But no, it actually does have logical explanation, even more so. I encouraged your father's strict ways, so he became his drinking brother in order to make him hate heroes more and more. I gave you something to aspire to, and he talks to those kids. Hello there, you must be Mr. Shimura's son, no? This road's a dangerous one, what with all the traffic, and I bided my time. Why don't you take my hand? It was sourced from a quirk at one of the good doctor's facilities. Hold on. We stripped away half of it, the ability to reverse its effects, leaving an incomplete, subpar copy engineered solely to promote destruction. Hold on, I need to think for a second here. Is this... Is this Chisaki? But Chisaki does have the ability... He has the ability to take things apart and put them together, so he does still have the destruction part. So you strip away half, the ability to reverse its effects. I mean... So did he take a part of Chisaki's quirk? I was going to say, did he take Izuku's quirk and make Izuku quirkless, and Izuku was supposed to have decay? But no, I think decay is just a piece of overhaul. But that doesn't totally make sense to me, given that overhaul on its own can kind of destroy things. Like, I kind of get what he's saying, the ability to reverse its effects, so it's like Overhaul can overhaul, but Overhaul can reverse the effects, because he used Overhaul to kill Rappa and then bring him back to life. So he can reverse it. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure here. The very quirk I granted you. You mean, indeed, the tragedy, the ordeals, the rejection, the validation, all granted by me. All that you are, you speak of your unwavering heart. Nonsense. For shame. And we see all that's left of him breaking apart. Because all of his destruction was again not his choice. And again, there's an issue sometimes with redeeming a villain, where it's like, okay, you redeemed them, but they did some horrible things in the past. Even, like, how do you justify that? But this is like justifying it to the utmost degree, because Shigaraki was manipulated at literally every step of the way. His spirit is now mine to delete. I was saving this last resort until after he'd stolen her one for all, but that's no longer in the cards. Be gone from my body, all for one. And then, no, that's Izuku screaming, all for one. Yoichi is gone. My intermediate goal is foiled, and he's taken Shigaraki's body. Oh, a lingering note. Be silent. Okay, the lingering note. Shigaraki was like making groans. He was still trying to make noise, and he covers his mouth to prevent Shigaraki from speaking. The spiritual damage has taken its toll on the flesh. decay. His rage and hatred are no more. Are you dead yet, boy? The vessel I spent years searching for and cultivating is ruined, as is my brother. All that remains is all for one. I'll move on to my hollow, immaterial final goal. That is to say, the world. I won't let you... And he collapses, and Izuku's arms are gone in the real world. Neither of us emerged unscathed, I see. And he groans and struggles, trying to pull himself up even without his arms, it seems. And he thinks about all of the importance of them in the past. Not done yet. Not yet. Loss engenders strength. That's a narrative trope I intend to establish. Such a pitiful end was inevitable, for a child with nothing to lose in the first place. And then Seto! I got chills. Seto out of nowhere. Seto? Trivial. Negligible enough that Midoriya's presence obscured the warning. Midoriya, need some saving, pal? And now we have Sugar Rush and Tailman. Tornado Tail Dance, Sugar Knuckle. Seto? Ojiro? Sato, you're all still alive? Midoriya? Sorry for the delay. And Aizawa walks out from the portal, and the portal looks like it's part Kurogiri, but up at the top right, kind of looks like it's part Shirakumo. So I wonder if we're going to get a flashback to their battle, like we're doing one of those things where we see the results, and then we're going to flash back to see how it happened. I wonder if Aizawa won and was able to save Shirakumo in the end, and now gets to use his quirk. And again, I kept mentioning everybody converging together more and more for the finale. So I wonder if that's how we go. Because now we have Kurogiri Shirakumo's powers. Can he converge everybody together for the grand finale? So Aizawa walks through. Horikoshi is killing it. Everything I criticized him for or thought he was doing wrong at the beginning of this arc, shame on me. Shame on me for it, because his pen is melting at this point. It's incredible. My Hero Academia is, against all odds, the Jump Shonen nailing the finale. It's the one. It is the chosen one. Would I have expected that Deku was the chosen one? Nope. But it's like, again, as much as I grew up on the big three, as much as I loved the big three, Naruto got to be anime Jesus nonsense reincarnation stuff. Ichigo got every power under the sun, and the ending was incredibly rushed because of Shueisha. One Piece is falling off at an astronomical rate. I don't know what the hell Oda's doing. One Piece is, disastrous. I don't want to spoil, but Luffy's kind of been ruined in a lot of ways. How on earth, out of all of them, did Izuku, the kid who's not even number one in any of his own character polls, how's he the one? He's the one. Horikoshi did it. Man. And hey, maybe things go to shit within like less than 20 chapters. I think that I can't imagine there's any more than that left in the series. We're so close to what I feel like should be the end. Maybe things fall apart, but I just don't know how at this point. I think we're so close to the end that I don't know how Horikoshi doesn't stick this. Because like I said earlier, there were so many different ways he can take it that I think are all really good. Hero Academia is it. It's the chosen one. Never did I think this would happen, but I am so glad that it did. I am so glad to, I don't know if I would say be proven wrong, because I was never like, oh, it wouldn't, but it's just every Jump series does. Every long-running shonen, but especially Jump series does. It all falls apart somewhere towards the end, and falls apart bad. And you can say certain things of Hero Academia might not have been as good at like certain low points, but at this point, at the ending, they killed it. And you know what is such a shame? You know what's such a shame? This manga has been so brilliant. It's been so amazing. And they absolutely fucked up Season 5. They shit on Season 5 in the adaptation. Season 6 I haven't gotten to yet. I heard it was better, but that doesn't change the fact that they made Season 4 mid. They made Season 5 a disaster. A cobbled together Frankenstein disaster. A manga this good, they fucked up that colossally on Season 5, where we had My Villain Academia. How do you fuck up My Villain Academia? We had the Endeavor Hero Agency. How do you mess this stuff up? And they did. And Season 7's coming. Season 7, I do not think they have the content for it to make Season 7 and then also have a final season after that that works. And you know what else? They have a movie coming right near Season 7. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to do the same things they did in previous seasons. Season 4, Season 5, we've seen it happen before. They are going to screw over canon content from, honestly, at this point, I think maybe one of Jump's most solid manga. They are going to butcher it. They're going to butcher the final arc to one of Jump's most solid manga to promote a movie. Abysmal. It's such a shame because this series has honestly been so incredible that I'm just like, how? Like maybe the anime will have a killer. I don't see how. I don't have faith in Season 7. I'm sorry, I don't. But hey, maybe the final season or the finale, if they do it as like a movie series or something, if they try to be Attack on Titan with it, hey, maybe those will be incredible. But that doesn't change the fact that if you want to watch the anime as a whole, you're going to have to sit through movie ads, and you're going to have to sit through movie ads, and you're going to have to deal with Season 5, a chunk of it, being butchered. You're going to have to deal with the Endeavor versus high-end stuff. Some of my favorite stuff in the entire manga. You're going to have to deal with that being butchered. You're going to have to deal with parts being rushed, parts being smushed together. You're going to have to deal with mid parts of the anime, like Season 4. It hurts me. It hurts me that this manga has been so good, and the anime was so good in Seasons 1, 2, the first half of 3, and even arguably the second half of 3. Like, it's covering a little bit of a weaker part of the manga, but you could argue it still did a really good job with what it had. But then after the first 3 seasons, like, what'd they do? They try, like, manga, Izuku is out here freaking trying to crawl with no arms. Meanwhile, the anime is trying to be family-friendly, babies first anime. Gotta remind you of every character's name every time they're on screen, just in case Goo Goo Gaga babies forgot about it. Jeez. This has been a hell of a rant. A hell of a rant. Because this manga is so good, and it's pissing me off that so many people are going to watch the anime and not get an idea of just how good. That hurts. Either way, ending it here. I've rambled for a long time. What an incredible journey. Thank you so much for watching. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this week's 3 chapters. What you thought of my thoughts and reaction. Subscribe for more My Hero Academia, much more on the channel. Not too much left though, probably. Got maybe a couple more months until it probably ends. Probably. I don't know. Honestly, maybe I'm talking out of my ass. Maybe we end this arc and they're like, that's not the ending of the manga. Time for the next arc, and maybe the next arc sucks. Maybe we go into the full bring, the time skip into the full bring of Hero Academia. Subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. If you want a link to the Discord server, it's free and open for anyone. Just ask and I can give you a link. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can drop a super thanks down below. But if you want to not only help support the channel and help me to keep making videos, but also get One Piece videos early yourself, also get shoutouts at the end of every single video, then you can hit join down below to become a member. Go to patreon.com/Haku of the Tubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron. Thank you so much to people who are already patrons and channel members, as I said. Thank you to Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, FR Nono and Abyss Knight, Cheverton Students, David Langstaff and Folded Ghoul, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stan Cedar, and Pure Element Pate Ardialo. Thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.